All right, now we are live and I should have audio. I'll give everyone an opportunity to come back in. Welcome, welcome, welcome all. Hi, Chastity. Can you guys hear me? Is there audio? Okay, awesome. Thank you, Tracy. Hi, Gerard, Courtney. Is it AT or at? Hey, P. Welcome, welcome, guys. Hit that like button as you come in. Just woke up from a fresh, much needed nap. So we're gonna go ahead and do a energy check. I hope everyone is well. Yeah, 11:11 love on the clock. All right. Ha. Delayed but not denied. Hey, things happen for a reason. Maybe that mishap happened for a reason. So whatever you want to speak intentions right now is the time. Boom, boom, boom. Fire away. Your birthday's 4/11, Aries creative concepts. Well, you really better make a wish right now. All right. Okay. Sorry. I don't know why. As soon as I get on here, I try and quiet the house down. But as soon as I sit down in here, I start hearing noises outside the door. So, all right, let's get into it. Welcome, you guys. Aries the Emperor here. All right, this is an all Aries channel for all of my Aries placements. For those of you who are new here joining us, like I said, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button, especially if this message resonates with you. Okay, it may or may not. Okay, all right. Some messages are for you right now, right here, and some messages may not be. So just do not force the reading. Okay. And if you'd like to connect with me, all of my information is in the description box located down below. All right. I am working to get personal readings out to you guys for those of you who have purchased and as well as your intention candles. I'm working to get those out for you as well. So, all right. So there's a very beautiful event taking place this evening. W- the moon is at this time, I believe it's waning, and Antares is said to be spotted. Well, I may misquote this, but you're supposed to be able to see. Okay, this is a crescent moon. Okay, so it's basically Antares is a giant red star. Okay, giant ancient red star, and you're supposed to kind of see it off in the distance from Antares. Okay, as Antares is just as important as Sirius, which is what the largest star, one of the oldest known stars that's visible um, from space, from Earth. But it will give the moon kind of like a red glow tint. Antares will. Okay. All right. So let's see what messages come out. Y'all know that I'm like a astrology head, so and that just makes me feel and it just goes to show we're walking in an age where right now, planets are more visible to us than they've ever been, in our lifetime. We're not going to see this again. We're not going to experience this again. It's just a few nights ago you could look up in the sky and what did I say? I believe it was Saturn or Jupiter. And literally with a telescope, you could see, just details. And so that just also makes me feel like what you're asking for, what you're reaching for, Aries, is not really that far off. It's not far off at all. Hey, Shaquita. All right, so I know what y'all came here for. What are people questioning? Okay, what are people's questions? What do they question about you? Um, let's find out. Let's find out as much as we can. Disclaimer: there may be a trigger alert. So this is nothing personal. All right, like I said, if it does not resonate with you, don't absorb it. It's as simple as that. Okay. All right. Let's have some fun. Let's heal together. Let's get through this together. All right, let's get into it. And I just want to say the collective lately, I've been going live. Your guys' energy has been just so amazing, and I appreciate you for that. Okay. Let me say that first and foremost. You are a very, very, very cool group of collective. Welcome, Calvin. And I wouldn't trade you for the world. Messages for Aries. All right. What is this that people are questioning about the Aries collective? Y'all hit that like button as you come in. Show your girl some love. She give me love, 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 crazy love. Somebody could be questioning that about like, what's your love like, Aries, or how can they get love from you? You might have somebody singing, walking around singing that song, when it comes to you. You may have got somebody's head blown up. Okay. Sacrifices must be made. All right. So I feel like people want sacrifices out of you for sure. They want blood out of you, Aries. They can look in your eyes and tell, like, this one finna be one that's going in the history books. This person's Aries' name is going up on the wall after after everything is over with. Is you I feel like people question themselves about how much they really gave of themselves and sacrificed themselves, when it comes to you. So these could be things. I feel like a lot of you guys have the same questions, like when it comes to closure after the fallout of something or the end of the breakup, the whatever, the separation, the just whatever. Um, there's like you guys, I feel like you and the other person, your minds may still kind of be whatever frequency you on. I feel like the other person has to keep up with and stay on. So I feel like I said, even after you've left, you're still running through their veins, if that makes sense. Like you birthed them or something, which is really cool. But that's the example that comes to mind. So and like I said, it makes people question, and not only do they think like themselves after you, they think like you too. They take whatever they've learned from you and however you would incorporate it, they try and morph it and incorporate it in within themselves, you know what I mean? So and like I said, it's like people really question, like, did they really sought to get something up out of you, or once they get in with you, but the question is, what is it that they're wanting up out of you? What sacrifice? All right, people could want to know why you ghosted them, Aries. We have inconsistencies here. Why are you nice one day and mean the next day? I feel like people are asking. Or why do you seem interested one day and you're not interested the next day? It's giving just energy, like I said here, of you may show up when you feel like it. And some days, you may not feel like it. It's nothing personal. Like how an Aries is with one person is how Aries is with everyone. No, there's no exception. Trust me, there's no exception. You know what I mean? When it comes to this 5IE, there's no exception. Right. So, and I feel like people know that, is if you're important in an Aries' life, you're important and you're gonna know that, right? And then if you're not, there are gonna be inconsistencies. And that makes people not only question you and why, but question themselves and why. Hi, Gloria. Welcome. Welcome to the channel, love. Chuchi, welcome. KW, Calvin, San Francisco, Bay, 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 welcome. Is it Jim's? In the groove, welcome y'all. Come on in, hit that like button as y'all come in. What's up on this Saturday evening? We got NYC in the building, San Francisco. Okay, Tracy from London. Nice. I love it. We got a packed house tonight. And me coming all the way from Tennessee, baby. I absolutely love that. Welcome, welcome to all of y'all. I'm so glad that you're here. Ah, Aries from Bmore, Baltimore. I love the accents. Love, absolutely love. And guess what's playing? Was The Wire filmed in Baltimore? It's playing in the other room. All right, we have Stand Your Ground. Okay, so people could question, why are you like a Sagittarius, for example, your sister fire sign. Sagittarius is somebody who could be very, not to say religious, they could come off as very religious because of their beliefs and how strong that 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 they're willing to go to bat for something that they believe in, right? So people could feel like, why are you like that? You know, what are you getting out of this? What are you aiming towards? Why are you so hard on people? Why are you so hard on yourself? You know, is these could be questions, that people are asking, because a lot of people are quick to fold, quick to give in, quick to put out, but even with you, and somebody told me this. I heard somebody say this. When arguing with an Aries, you might as well give up because an Aries is gonna slaughter your ass whether they wrong or right in the situation. So you gonna lose either way. Is that true, y'all? Either way it go, they said Aries is gonna get they point across. Somewhere in it, they gonna find where they was right. And there may be a little bit extra emphasis put on that. I'm just saying. Thank you, Tracy, for that super chat, love. Thank you so much. Y'all about to have me in tears over here. Okay. But hey, but like I said, if you gonna stand on it, whatever it is, you ready to go to war about it, Aries. And people want to know why, damn it. Why can't you just be soft? Why can't you just do like I say? You know what I mean? It's because like my son, when I ask him to when I tell him, "No, we can't do that right now. We'll do it later." And he's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Because." So he started flipping it on me, and I'd ask him, "Why you didn't make your bed?" He hit me with the, "Because." Because I didn't feel like it, basically, Aries, and that's what you telling them. That's why, because I don't owe you no explanation. Keep questioning. Thank you so much, Tracy. Thank you, love. All right, unlocked potentials. I feel like this comes up for you guys, Aries. Like there's a lot of things I feel like people can look at you and want to break down and dissect, and people kind of want to say, you really only have this as an issue if you know if you just forget about that, or if you change this, or if you do that, it's opinion, 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 and on how you could better something, and when you're the driver of this vehicle, you know what I mean? You're the one that's taken care of, yourself, and the decisions and the ways that you are moving out here, but people could feel, they could question you and what it is exactly that you're doing. And I feel like this has a lot to do mentally. We are in a season and a sign of a air sign, so a lot of things right now, are going to be in reflection and in your relationships with other people. So if things that you not expecting come to the forefront, people you're not expecting coming to the forefront, like I said, this is the season to jumpstart all of that type of activity and that energy. And in that comes what? Y'all probably can't read it, but it says triggers. Triggered. Like that Janae Aiko song. Mhm. This could be confirmation that this is an upcoming trigger warning. This could also, like I said, Aries, I feel like a lot of you guys are definitely triggers for other people, whether you mean it or not. It's something very expressive about your energy. And it's one like I feel like people mhm. I want to speak on your heat as far as like your fire energy, but I'm trying to see how to word it. It's like you ain't been burned until you met a Aries. And when I say burned, I don't mean that as in a harmful way, but I mean that as far as you ain't lived. You know what I mean? You haven't had a dose of life. You haven't had a dose of reality for sure. You know what I mean? And if you haven't come in contact with an Aries, and I feel like you, boom, you are that trigger. Well, however it hits, whoever it is, at whatever stage or phase that they are healed in their lives. You know what I mean? Or at peace or one with themselves. Um, Trigger. Yeah, you should walk up with a trigger sign on you, and like I said, a lot of us are people's lesson. A lot of us are people's karma, and a lot of us are being warned to step out of the way of others' karma that has nothing to do with us. You know what I'm saying? And definitely battles that don't serve us. Wash your hands with it. You let people fall on their face for once when it comes down to it, and let them question you. But one thing about it, you're gonna trip it. They gonna trip and fall on their face. And because they're not watching where they going. They too busy questioning you and worrying about where you going. So yeah, of course they gonna be triggered. So I feel like you keep your mind on your money, and baby, a lot of those triggers are gonna fall by the wayside. They won't even be able to penetrate you with the "you love me." And look at this bundle of sage. If I love you so much, then why am I having to burn sage every time you dot that door? Speaking of, I need to light some right now, y'all. I'm not even gonna lie. Let me protect my energy. All right. All right, you love me. Someone may be questioning your love for them at this point in time. Is it still there? Is it still valid? Um, are they forgiven? Are they forgotten? I feel like this is a question that someone is asking themselves. They're trying to read you from a distance, because maybe they're not able to get to you. They don't have access to you because of some reason. People could be wondering, what is it about you that you have this influence. What is it about you that drives other people through you personally? I feel like people are asking questions like, "What are your weaknesses?" "What are your distractions? How can they distract you?" "What are some of the things that have distracted you in life or slowed you down?" I feel like people could be asking or wanting to ask questions like, "Did you ever really love them?" "Did you have a motive behind being with them or banding together with them or just were you ever really in it 100%?" I feel like somebody feels like you had a plan B or exit strategy of some sort here. And they just question, whether or not they were the only one. Okay. They question, were they the best? They question, would you pick them again, in another lifetime? Like I said here with this, is it worth it energy? Is it worth it? Was it worth it, Aries? How everything played out. How do you feel right now, Aries? Was it worth it? I feel like this is a question somebody has for you. Are you triggered, Aries? Or were you triggered by what played out? Are you still triggered by it? Some of you guys may have had to been on the side of dealing with the inconsistencies and like I said, the sacrifices and seeing potential in others, that they wouldn't even see inside of themselves to unlock. And also people knowing they don't really need to question you about why you stood your ground or why you stand in your ground. They know why. They damn sure know why. And they know even more what real love is and what real love ain't. And when yours starts to fade away, that's when the questions really start to raise in the back of their brain. And when you are gone away, it moves to the forefront, and leaves all these questions here that remain. And some, like I said, may not ever go answer. It's never over. I feel like you are the type of energy that people would like to see in their different phases, see them growing old, be a part of that growing old. You keep people young, there's a vibrancy about your life. You brighten the picture, it's just all of these things and it's really hard for people, like I said, to separate from you because there are so many things that they are losing and missing out, in someone like you. So if there's ever you separated from someone, even if they're not able to admit it within themselves at that time, they may still need some work. They may still need some healing to do, within themselves. That's why I say it's hard. We should not really take anything personal because this is honestly all energy that we're dealing with. It's not even ours. If you really think about it, it's really nothing personal. And people talk about zodiac signs, specifically, and they joke. And of course, because you're an Aries doesn't mean that, you're gonna just be a violent person. There's a lot of stereotypes, when it comes to zodiacs. Just like there is science and how we are made up. There are a lot of different things that make us up in astrology and zodiac. The zodiac wheel is a part of that. You know what I mean? So, um, I'm trying to see how to say this, y'all. But simply put, because I don't want to get off. I don't want to get too off topic because I was about to go in a whirlwind just then. I had to catch myself. Okay. But like, okay, let's go back. It's never over. Like I said, as far as is someone questioning, I feel like someone feels very strongly in the back of their mind that it maybe it's not over, that there is a chance. And but just a little bit back on what I was touching on, like as far as like zodiac signs, like it's written. I mean, it's almost along the lines of basically borderline personality traits. You know what I mean? But everybody is made up of not just that one sign, but still at the same time, at the core, that's who a person really is. If you're wondering, if you're questioning. So, especially if you get to a point where, you separate from someone, most time, especially fixed signs, they're not going to stray too far away from their patterns and their energies and the ways that they go about in life, Aquarius, for example, being a fixed sign. All right, Taurus being a fixed sign, okay? Um, so, these are people that kind of stick to a routine or stick to core values or basics. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. So, this could be a way that you move as well. Even though Aries is cardinal energy, you do still like to set yourself up that said of like a militant type of schedule or if honestly, that's the best type of schedule for a lot of us, I'm not even gonna lie, and I don't mean to say it in a boot camp type of way, you know what I mean? I just mean to say, like, make a schedule and stay on that, like, basically, that's it, right? And I feel like people question your routine, they want in on it, they want, some type of information, when it comes down to your daily, your ins and outs. And like the card says, will we overcome this? There are some things that I feel like when it comes to things, Aries, you always have to go through things alone. But when it comes to you, like and other people going through things, like why do they want you to tag along for their bullshit? Like, why do they want you to be a part of that? Like, I don't understand it. And they want you to really be down there, sitting on the curb with them, you know, sitting Indian style with your arms folded, but let that be you in that position. You know what I mean? And that really, really sucks. Like I see that time in and time out and don't get me started. All right, let's get into some tarot, y'all. I've been talking almost 30 minutes straight with straight oracle, but we finna get into the tarot and see what comes out. We'll get a good read here. Like, let's get to the bottom of this, shall we? Welcome, Mike. Hi, Natural Beauty. Hi, Couture Styles. Welcome, welcome, y'all. Hey, Lala. Yes, I take everything with a grain of salt. Hey, Divine Soul. Welcome, y'all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hit that like button as y'all come on in. Let's get into this tarot. Let's see what is it that people are questioning about you? And let's see if we can get some of the questions that they may have as far when it comes to you, collective. I'm so happy that you caught it too, Couture Styles. I hope you're doing fabulous. I hope you're doing fabulous, Lala. You as well, Divine. On this Saturday evening. Welcome, King Gunna. Okay, Prince from DC. We got DC in the house. We got London in the house, San Francisco. Is it Mandisa from South Africa? Welcome. We had Calvin from, did I say San Francisco? Thank you all for being here. The Real Savage from Arkansas. And you got Aries right here in Tennessee, baby. All right, let's get into it. What are people questioning about the Aries collective spirit? What, when, why, how, and where on earth are they getting these questions from? Ding, 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 ding. From their pea brains is what spirit is saying. You see this hanged man? And look what is illuminating. I said, what, when, where are these are they getting these questions from? They're getting it from their chakra, their crown chakra, whatever their crown chakra looks like. Okay. It may be a little filthy. It may need to be just that sound the window makes when you put some Windex on it. It's like that. I feel like this is our energies who need that type of cleanse. Like this is our energies who need to drink a little lemon water. You know what I mean? A little spritzer to clean them out before they fix their mouths to even ask a question or like I said, to even have the nerve to feel the way they feel to have some of the questions that they want to ask. You know what I mean? Especially with Pisces and this being the 12th house. So you have to think about it. These are things that have been on people's minds. These are energies that people have been felt. These are things that people have been wanting to say, and these are things that they may not all the way come out and say, outright. They may still leave some things out. They may still make you think that you guys have made amends when in fact, you know what I mean? There's still a silent war being raged, you know what I mean, against you, God forbid, and always aware that you are, and your soldiers are as well, okay, seen or unseen. But the hanged man, itself is very spiritual, so these questions that are being thrown out there, are not just, being picked up by the ears of other people, but being picked up of the spiritual ears, and that being, i.e., ancestors, spiritual deities, or like any other natural spiritual spirits, that you affiliate, you cling to. You know what I mean? So that's why they say the tongue is very powerful. In different religions, they even have religions, where you talk in something called tongues. Here in the South. So and just like in voodoo and all different, practices. Like these are things that people need to really be careful of. Because you could curse your whole bloodline, and not to freak or fearmonger anybody for that matter or whatever, but when you dealing with things like this, when you conjure up things like this, it's you better be ready. And that's the same with, getting yourself into things in life and situations where it forces you to have to sit down and ask yourself sometimes these heavy hitting questions. You know what I mean? Let alone somebody else's heavy questions that they want to throw onto you. And I read something earlier, I think Robin Williams, the comedian, like, he was one of my favorites, Mrs. Doubtfire, one of my favorite movies, right? He said that one of life's biggest lessons, like, and it's some simple lessons, baby, but they gonna teach you some big lessons. He said one was a hungry stomach. He said an empty wallet. And what was the third one? Let me see if but baby, did that stick or did it stick? Damn it, I didn't oh, shit, I didn't save it. Mm. I'm trying to think. He said a empty wallet, a empty stomach, and I think he said okay, a empty wallet, a hungry stomach, and a broken heart are 3 of the most biggest, simplest lessons that you will ever learn in this lifetime. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm wrong. And what's that? 3 of the biggest things that people do. They prey on your downfall, your finances, your wallet, your pockets. You know what I'm saying? And then, in some instances, you go through the loss phase, the heartache, the heartbreak phase. However that is, heartbreak could come in any fashion. You know what I mean? You could lose your dog and be heartbroken. It don't have to be just a person or any, it's just heartbreak is heartbreak. A loss is a loss, you know what I mean? And and you have energies and things out there that will try and attack you in that aspect as well, you know what I mean? And a hungry stomach, that's the same as people trying to prey on your finances. That's taking food out of your mouth. And if you got kids and a spouse at home, that's taking food out of their mouth too. That's what this hanged man Pisces energy is. So the question really is, why would somebody want this against you? Or this is the energy of somebody questioning, why you deserve, to feed your family this, or you deserve to be able to do that, and maybe they're not in a position to do that. Maybe they're not in a position to do some of the things that you are, but they're not gonna come out and say it. Oh, but believe they got plenty of questions. All right, yeah, we got the 2 of wands, and it came out in reverse. If this ain't the wind just getting a little bit colder as it blows in your direction, I don't know what is. And it's always the energy of why must you be so unique? I feel like people are saying, how do you stay 10 toes ahead even when we're trying to spin you out? How does one? We have the Nine of Swords Gemini energy, the Page of Pentacles, and the Chariot Cancer energy. Okay, like I was gonna say, I feel like this is the energy of someone saying, "How does one sleep at night knowing how you have made people feel?" This is the energy of, like, people questioning, like, how are you able to stress them out like this? How are you able to enter their mental space like this? Like, you're the type of energy, Aries, where somebody has to, after y'all done, they gotta block you on social media because they wouldn't dare be able to stand it to see you. Because every time you come back and see a Aries, they look better and better. They're doing, better and better. You know what I mean? You're definitely not in the same spot, or you're not gonna come off as that. So, I really feel like this Page of Pentacles is, there's always a piece of stability there for you, even if you not where you used to be, or people don't call themselves, seeing you as where you used to be. You know what I mean? People may question what you're doing these days, especially. If you've just purchased a new vehicle, I feel like people may be questioning how you got that vehicle, who paid for it. Um, I feel like people could be wondering and questioning where you live. We have the 5 of Cups. And people are wondering if you would accept their apology. Yep, Ace of Cups. People, I feel like, are questioning, Aries, have you found love? Are you happy? Are you getting the things you want? Are you getting the things that you deserve? Are doors opening up for you, Aries? Are you happy? You know, is really what I'm getting. Someone is really asking, whether something is fulfilling for you. Ooh, the devil and the magician. Yikes. But like I said, I'm getting a strong I'm sorry. And I'm getting like I knew this was going to happen. I'm getting like I knew better. This is like a energy of like every single time. And I'm getting the energy of somebody that is just like, is as bad as and as hard as they try and do right. Is the devil energy here and the magician Aries energy. It's just always something that comes to where somebody within themselves is not strong enough. And like I said, they question themselves in what decision to make, whether it's right or wrong. And especially if you're a factor in their decision making, or it may affect you in some way, shape, or form. But this is somebody who is weak, just a little bit. This is somebody who is walking with high faith, but like I said, at the same time, there's gonna be some fault. And like I said, everybody is different in life and what how they deal with things. And especially you could say how you gonna handle any type of situation until you in the situation. Trust me, however you said you was gonna react, 9 times out of 10, it's not gonna be how you gonna react when you're in the situation. That's just life. Because there's so many other factors that play, that you don't even get a opportunity to even factor in. So with this devil and this magician, that's where that comes in. The devil was in the details, but a lot of times when it's foggy, you can't really see all of the details and you can't read clearly, right? So I feel like this is somebody who's wanting to confuse you. You may already be set in your ways when it comes to something, but this is an energy here where somebody is set on um, shaking things up a little bit, challenging you is what this devil energy is. Mm. And this is giving like high level ranking. Like, let me get some more here. Like, this is like an energy of, like, you can manifest, like, you can go, with the goal, like, you can manifest round for round, you know, it's just like all you gotta do is set you up, Aries. Literally. If they could copy you and spit you out in the duplicates, they would. What do you put in that, Aries, when you make it? I feel like it's like that's the energy that it's giving y'all. What are they putting in that Aries when they make it? Okay. Do they slow cook it? What type of marinade is that? Lot of questions, okay? Lot of questions when it comes to you, Aries. Oh, uh-oh. Alright, I'm finna reshuffle this because oh, the entire deck is upside down, so yeah. Alright, the Queen of Wands, Aries energy. I feel like people question why you're so confident. Where do you get your confidence from? Where do you get your strength from? Your love for nature. I feel like people are questioning where does that come from as well? I feel like people are asking how are you able to forgive? One second. All right. All right. So we have the Four of Swords that decided to fly across the room and the world, Saturn energy. I feel like people are wondering, how does one go through something and still present themselves to the world? You know, like I said, with strength, with comfort, fearless, and still able to embrace the world, and even those who may have tried to come up against you and hate on you, you know. You're still able to find peace and people, they question that. The Queen of Wands is somebody if there was a queen that I feel like had the right to or I don't wanna say have the right, you know what I mean? But if there was a queen that I would suspect that would come back on some revenge type vengeance type shit, it would be the Queen of Wands. Duh. She's fire energy. Like, look at the size of the cat, you know what I mean, on the card. So, that alone is going to eat your ass alive, you know what I mean? So, people they know that you carry that spirit and they wonder like, "Man, you know, this person is really, somebody of the white light." You know what I mean? Even though they may have dark essentials and tools, but I mean, it's necessary, when you going up against things and figures and outerly worldly things, and like I said, sometimes that we can't even see. So yeah, you got questions and if it like I said, I think I've said before, if you don't get the answer that you want, then baby, it's gonna be some problems. I mean, magician size problems, colossal size problems. Spiritual damnation type of problems, Aries. Tell them to question that. Seven of Wands, like I said, we can handle this like adults. We can handle this like gentlemen, or we can get into some other shit. People see a black belt when they see you. They question that. Did I just see a karate kick? Aries looks like they exactly. You know what I mean? That's what this Seven of Wands energy is. You're nothing to clown around about. Yeah, you like to laugh, but you're not going to be the butt of anybody's joke. That's for sure. And if anybody ever questioned that, they find that out very quickly and very clearly. You know what I mean? And it don't feel good when you on the other side of Aries is wand, Aries is stick. You know what I mean? Aries is bad side especially. It's like you going to the graveyard, you know what I mean, when you on that side because, you to a certain degree, you're not even really gonna even become a thought in the Aries mind. You don't let them get to that place because once they get in that place, baby, they are in the most comfortable position in a decision and giving you. Is this the same live? Yeah, I don't know what just happened. It said that it was removed by upload. Natural Beauty, what I think this is the same live, if I'm not the timer still says we 57 minutes in. Ooh, child. I was so scared to end it, y'all. I was over here trying to figure out if I could refresh it without ending it. The screen froze. That's what happened. I got a YouTube notification that there was a break in the signal, a break in the connection. So my apologies. Can I start another girl? What time is it? It's almost midnight. It is midnight. It's after midnight. Can I start a new one? How about I give y'all two after I end this one? I give y'all two tomorrow. Cause I got up early this morning and I did one early this morning. So that was my plan to try and do that again. Kendall, oh my gosh, Kendall, I wanted to send you something special and I wanted to but yes, I did. I want to say thank you so much, love. But I'm going to reach out to you personally though. I thank you so much. All right. When I say some of the most talented individuals I have ever met in my life, and Kendall is definitely one of them. And I have to share it if that's okay with you, even if it's just a little piece, okay? But I absolutely love it, okay? All right, y'all. Let's go ahead. Like I said, my apologies as well for the screen freezing. Let's go ahead and get back into this read here and see what messages come out for you guys, okay? No, you're not the only guy in here. And if you are, so what? Lucky you. With all this divine energy. Thank you, Kendall, for that super chat. Thank you so much. All right, we have the Knight of Pentacles to come out and the Empress, Taurus energy. All right, so what do people question about you? I feel like this comes up like some of these energies have been repeating have been repeating, but I mean that's normal, especially if this is an energy that hasn't received its necessary closure or space for it to go. It is still going to transfer in some way, shape, or form. But with the Empress out here, people I feel like ask, will you ever change? They ask what made you change? What made you change towards them? You know, I feel like there are people who are wondering as well, if some of you, if you were young parents, or just in general, if you've separated yourself and moved away with your children, they still think about how you are as a parent, how your children are. They wonder how their children, how it would have been if you guys would have had children together. Some people see you as of the parent of their child, you in that light. I feel like people still, they question, what business ventures did you get into? What did you end up flourishing and birthing, as far as your ideas and dreams go? And I feel like also people are wondering, like, what have you been attracting into your life these days? Is what does your world look like? A day in the life of an Aries right now, I feel like is what a lot of people would really honestly like to know, or know a little bit more of, for that matter. We have the Knight of Pentacles. Also, like I said, that came out. And the Knight of Pentacles is the energy of, what made you slow down? It's what made you slack up the pace here. And I feel like also people are wanting to know, like, what was your big break? What was your big moment? When did you make your first big, your first major dollar, or get your first major raise, or when did you feel most comfortable in something, or when did you feel like it's time to really move forward and make that move? We have the King of Wands to come out, which is Leo energy. And I feel people are like, how do you something about your sex appeal? I feel like people are questioning, but I feel like it's something that people are definitely attracted to, and they ask themselves, like, what is it that really attracts them to you, in this way, with this High Priestess energy. It's like people may be afraid to admit, certain things when it comes to you, Aries. They may won't be afraid to admit certain feelings. Yeah, 6 of Cups. Definitely. It's giving Scorpio energy. It's like Scorpios find it hard to express things, but they're kinda like Aries. They are like Aries a lot, You can see it, you can sense it, and don't even have to be looking at them, that's the crazy part about it. But Imma go ahead and, let's wind this read down here, 'cause sis is getting a little auntie getting a little winded here. It's 12:13 AM. We've been over here, on live here an hour and 3 minutes. I just wanna say thank you again for you guys who are joining us. I myself, yeah. Now, one thing about a Scorpio couture styles, they'll play those games. They'll play those reindeer games with you to start off until they see that you're about business and you're not paying them any mind. Because a lot of times Scorpios, when they have an attraction to you, it's very deep, it's very intense. You know what I mean? So they'll play like that, but that's how you reel them on in, love. That's how you reel them on in. And on that note, mwah, until next time, I'll catch y'all a little later in the AM. Okay? Ciao. No, you didn't, Couture Styles. Lord. All right. I'm going to catch y'all in a few hours. All right. Ciao. Love y'all.